The medical ship Compassion drifted through the darkness of space, its white hull marked with bright red crosses that could be seen for thousands of kilometers. Inside the ship, Doctor walked through the medical bay, checking on her patients. Her dark hair was tied back, and exhaustion showed on her face, but her eyes remained kind. "How is the child?" she asked a young nurse named Wu Li. "Stable now, doctor. The fever broke an hour ago." Wu smiled, relief evident in her voice. She had only graduated from the academy 6 months ago, and every saved life still felt like a miracle. Nodded and moved to the next bed. A warrior lay there, his blue-scaled body wrapped in bandages. Just 2 beds down, a soldier rested, his people at war with the. Both were healing under the same roof. Both received the same care. This was what Earth did. This was what made humans different. Captain stood on the bridge, studying the star charts. She had served in Earth's military for 15 years before joining the medical fleet. She knew how to fight, but she had chosen to heal instead. Her crew of 200 had made the same choice. "Captain, we're receiving another distress call," said the communications officer. Frowned. "From where?" "Sector 7 Alpha. It's a military station. They're requesting immediate medical assistance." The bridge went quiet. Everyone knew about the. They were warriors, proud and aggressive. They looked down on humans for their weakness, their obsession with saving lives instead of taking them. They had refused human help a dozen times before. "They must be desperate," said quietly. She thought for a moment, then made her decision. "Set a course, maximum speed." "Captain, the Galactic Coalition has classified that sector as too dangerous," the officer warned. His jaw tightened. "They're wounded, that's all that matters." Down in the medical bay, Dr. Sung Park was teaching a group of young doctors. He was older than, with gray in his hair and steady hands that had performed thousands of surgeries. "Remember," he told them, "we treat everyone the same. Enemy, ally, it doesn't matter. Pain is pain. Suffering is suffering." One of the young doctors raised his hand. "But sir, what if they wouldn't do the same for us?" Sung smiled sadly. "That's exactly why we must. Someone has to break the cycle. On Earth we swore an oath, do no harm. It doesn't say do no harm to only your friends. It means everyone." The ship shuddered slightly as it entered faster-than-light travel. They would reach the station in 6 hours. In the recreation room, Wu sat with other nurses, all of them young and idealistic. They talked about the places they had been, the lives they had saved. A mother who had hugged Wu and cried tears of joy. A soldier who had asked why humans helped people who couldn't pay them back. "We're making a difference," Wu said. "I can feel it. Every person we save, every child who gets to grow up because we were there, it matters." "The other species are starting to notice," another nurse added. "They're seeing that humans are serious about this." What they didn't know was that other species were also confused. How could humans be so soft, so foolishly compassionate? In a galaxy where strength meant everything, Earth sent doctors instead of soldiers. It made no sense. The Compassion dropped out of FTL near the station, and the sight made everyone gasp. The station was torn apart, metal twisted and burning. Emergency lights flickered. Bodies floated in space. "Mother of Mercy," whispered. "Get medical teams ready. All hands prepare for mass casualties." The commander appeared on screen. His name was Vex and his face was covered in blood. "Human ship, we don't need your," he stopped, coughing. "We don't need your pity." "This isn't pity, Commander," said firmly. "This is medicine. Let us help." There was a long pause, pride warred with necessity on Vex's face. Finally he nodded. "Dock at Bay 3. The medical teams rushed in with equipment and supplies. What they found was horrific. 300 soldiers were wounded, many dying. The station's own medical supplies were destroyed. Worked without stopping, her hands moving quickly and surely. She saved a who had lost both legs. She pulled shrapnel from another's chest. She held the hand of a dying soldier and spoke softly to him in his final moments, even though he had called humans weak just hours before. Sung operated in a makeshift surgical bay, performing procedures that doctors said were impossible. The human medical techniques were advanced, refined over centuries of war on Earth itself. Humans knew trauma. They knew how to pull people back from death's door. Wu moved through the wounded, offering water, changing bandages, speaking words of comfort. Some pushed her away at first, but others accepted her help. One young soldier, barely older than Wu herself, gripped her hand tightly. "Why?" he asked in broken galactic common. "Why help enemies?" Wu smiled at him. "You're not my enemy, you're someone who's hurt, that's all I see." Hours passed. The medical teams worked without rest. Slowly, the tide turned. Soldiers who would have died were stabilized. Critical patients were moved to the Compassion's better-equipped bays. Commander Vex found in the corridor. She was leaning against a wall, drinking water and trying to catch her breath. "You saved my crew," he said awkwardly. "I was wrong about humans." "You weren't wrong," said tiredly. "We are soft. We do care too much. But that's not weakness, Commander, that's a choice. Every day we choose compassion. It's harder than you think." Vex nodded slowly, beginning to understand. The medical teams were preparing to return to their ship when Sung noticed something on the sensors. "Captain, I'm picking up ships approaching. Multiple contacts." Checked her console. Her blood went cold. "Those are vessels. They don't have identification signals on." "Why would they come here?" someone asked. Sung's face went pale as he realized. "We just saved soldiers. We extended this war for they might see us as valid targets." Finished. She hit the communications button. "All teams return to ship immediately. This is not a drill." But it was too late. The ships opened fire without warning, without mercy, without honor. The first blast hit the Compassion's medical bay, where patients still lay recovering. And everything changed. Captain's voice cut through the chaos. "This is the medical vessel Compassion. We are unarmed. We carry wounded from multiple species. Cease fire immediately." The response came cold and clear. "We know what you are. You heal our enemies. You make this war longer. You are a legitimate target." His hands gripped her console. "Broadcast on all frequencies. Show them our medical certification. Show them everything." It made no difference. The second blast tore through the ship's port side. Alarms screamed. Red emergency lights flooded the corridors. In the medical bay, Wu was thrown to the floor. Around her, patients cried out in fear and pain. Equipment sparked and died. The lights flickered. "Get the patients to the escape pods," someone shouted. But there weren't enough pods for everyone. There never were on medical ships because medical ships were supposed to be safe, protected, sacred under every galactic law. They didn't care about laws. Doctor ran through the corridors helping nurses move patients. A young child clung to her, terrified. "It's okay," said softly, even as the ship shook around them. "I've got you. I won't let go." She carried the child toward the emergency section when the third blast hit. The explosion was massive, throwing forward. She twisted her body at the last second, taking the impact herself, shielding the child. Metal and fire rushed past them. Something heavy struck back. The child survived, did not. Dr. Sung Park was in the children's ward when the attack began. 12 young patients were there, too sick to move quickly. Most were refugees they had picked up from destroyed colonies. Some were orphans. All were terrified. "Stay calm," Sung told them, his voice steady even though his heart was racing. "I'm going to get you out of here." 3 nurses helped him, carrying the smallest children. They moved toward the rear escape section. Behind them, the sound of tearing metal grew louder. They were targeting specific areas of the ship. They knew where the medical bays were. They knew where the patients would be. This wasn't random fire. This was murder. "Go," Sung shouted to the nurses. "Get them to the pods." He stayed behind, going back for two more children who couldn't walk. He found them hiding under beds, crying. "It's okay, I'm here now." He lifted them both, one in each arm, and ran. He never made it to the escape section. The corridor exploded around him. The last thing Sung Park did was hold those children close, trying to protect them with his own body. Wu crawled through the smoke-filled medical bay. Her ears were ringing. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. Around her, the wounded screamed. Some were patients from the station. Some were her own crew members, now injured in the attack. "Help me," someone cried. It was a soldier trapped under fallen debris. Wu grabbed his arm and pulled. Her muscles screamed, but she kept pulling. Another nurse appeared through the smoke and helped. Together, they freed him. "Get to Section 7, Wu told him. "There's a sealed compartment there. It might be safe." "Come with us," Wu said. "I have to help the others first." She turned back into the smoke. She found 3 more people. She guided them toward safety. She was going back for more when someone grabbed her arm and yanked her into a doorway. The door slammed shut just as another explosion ripped through the corridor she had been standing in. "No more," a medical technician named Bora Song said, holding Wu back. "You can't save them all. We have to survive. We have to tell people what happened here." Wu fought against her, but Bora was stronger. The door was sealed. Through the small window, they could see the medical bay burning. They could see bodies floating in the zero gravity where the hull had been breached. They could see everything, and they could do nothing. Captain stood on what remained of her bridge. Half her crew was dead. Her ship was dying. She had sent every possible distress signal, broadcast every protocol, shown every identification marker. They kept firing. "Captain, we have to abandon ship," her first officer said. "Not yet, not while people are still aboard." Open the communication channel one last time. She didn't know if anyone would hear it. She didn't know if the message would reach Earth, but she had to try. "This is Captain of the medical vessel Compassion. We are under attack by forces. We are unarmed. We were providing humanitarian aid to wounded soldiers." Her voice cracked slightly. "They're targeting the medical bays intentionally. They're killing patients. They're killing doctors and nurses who never raised a weapon against anyone." Another explosion. The bridge shook. Consoles exploded. The first officer screamed and fell. Kept talking. "Earth, remember us. Remember we died doing what was right. Remember we tried to bring mercy to this galaxy." She paused. "And remember what they did to us for it." The final blast destroyed the bridge. Captain died at her post, still trying to save her crew. In the sealed compartment, Wu and 15 others huddled together. The compartment had emergency oxygen enough for maybe 12 hours. They could hear the sounds of the ship dying around them, metal groaning, explosions in the distance. Then, slowly, silence. The worst kind of silence. "Why?" someone whispered. "We were helping people, we weren't soldiers." "That's exactly why," Bora said bitterly. "We made the war inconvenient for them. We saved their enemies, so they removed the inconvenience." Wu said nothing. She was thinking about who had taught her everything, about Sung, who had been like a father to her, about who had chosen mercy over safety, about all 183 crew members who had died today. They had died because they healed. They had died because they cared. They had died because they were human. Hours later, a Galactic Coalition patrol ship found the wreckage. They found the sealed compartment. They found 15 survivors, traumatized and broken. They found 183 bodies. They also found the Compassion's black box, still intact, still recording. The recording was sent to Earth immediately, marked as highest priority. It reached the United Nations Defense Command at 400 hours, Earth Standard Time. General Yang Xin watched the entire recording in silence. He watched the medical teams saving lives. He watched the attack. He watched good people die for the crime of being compassionate. When the recording ended, General Shin sat in the darkness for a long moment. Then he picked up his secure communication device and entered a code that hadn't been used in 20 years. This is General Shin. Authorization code Alpha 77 Omega. Activate protocol Harbinger. Full deployment. Target Dominion. On military bases across Earth, alarms began to sound. In hidden facilities, ships began powering up. Soldiers who had been waiting, training, and preparing for years received their orders. The Harbingers were waking up, and the galaxy was about to learn that humanity had another face, a terrible face, a face that they had worked so hard to keep hidden because they knew what would happen if they ever had to show it. They had made the fatal mistake of attacking those who would not fight back. Now they would face those who could. The message went out to every human military installation in the galaxy. They killed our healers. Show them our warriors. The Galactic Coalition Council chambers were filled with representatives from 200 species. They had gathered to discuss the attack on the Compassion. The chamber buzzed with conversation, with arguments, with fear. Ambassador Han of Earth stood at the speaker's podium. She was small compared to many of the alien species around her, but her presence commanded attention. Her face was calm, but her eyes were cold. "I will show you something," she said, "and I ask that you watch it completely before you speak." The lights dimmed. The recording from the Compassion began to play. The council members watched in silence as the medical team saved soldiers. They watched as the ships approached. They watched as the attack began. Some council members looked away when the children's ward was hit. Others covered their faces, but made them watch all of it, every moment, every death, every scream. When it ended, the silence was absolute. "Under galactic convention, medical vessels are protected," said quietly. "Under every law we have agreed to, attacking unarmed healers is a war crime." They knew what they were doing. They said it clearly. They saw healers as legitimate targets. A counselor stood. "This is terrible, Ambassador Han. We condemn this action completely. They must be punished." "How?" asked simply. The counselor hesitated. We will impose sanctions, trade restrictions, diplomatic isolation." "Sanctions?" His voice was flat. "Trade restrictions. 183 doctors and nurses were murdered and you offer sanctions." "Ambassador Han, you must understand," another counselor said nervously. "The Dominion is powerful. They have the third largest fleet in the galaxy. If we move against them militarily, it could start a larger war." "I see," nodded slowly. "So you're afraid." "We are being cautious," the counselor corrected. "No, you're afraid." Looked around the chamber. "Let me tell you what Earth is going to do. We are invoking Article 7 of the Galactic Conventions, the right to proportional response to war crimes. We will act alone if necessary." A counselor laughed. "Alone? Ambassador, I mean no offense, but humanity has been part of this galaxy for only 50 years. Your fleet is small. Your military is limited. They would crush you." Smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You think you know us because we sent doctors. You think you understand humans because we try to heal everyone. Let me correct your misunderstanding." She pressed a button. New images appeared on the screens. Military installations, weapons, ships, technology that made the council members gasp. "Humans have been fighting wars for our entire history," said. 5,000 years of recorded warfare. We know 10,000 ways to kill. We perfected destruction long before we reached the stars. When we joined the galactic community, we made a choice. We would try to be better. We would try to heal instead of harm. She paused, but we never forgot how to fight. We just chose not to until now. The images changed again, showing soldiers in black armor. Ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Weapons based on human history of warfare. "These are the Harbingers," said. Earth's answer to a galaxy that might force us to fight. They've been training for 20 years. You never saw them because we never wanted you to. We wanted you to see our doctors, our teachers, our diplomats. We wanted to be known for our compassion. But they killed our healers. They killed people who would not fight back. They killed the best of us. Her voice turned hard. So now you'll meet the rest of us. The council erupted in argument. Some species supported Earth. Others feared the implications, but had said what she came to say. She left the chamber without waiting for a vote. On Earth, Colonel Wu stood before his battalion. 5,000 soldiers, all wearing the black armor of the Harbingers. They were the elite, chosen from the best warriors Earth had produced. Each one was skilled in a dozen forms of combat. Each one carried weapons designed to fight in ways aliens had never imagined. "You know what happened to the compassion," Wu said. His voice echoed across the assembly hall. "You know that unarmed doctors were murdered for helping the wounded. You know that nurses died protecting patients." The soldiers stood silent, but anger burned in their eyes. "Some species think we're weak because we care," Wu continued. "They think compassion is softness. They're about to learn they're wrong. Compassion is our strength. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us worth saving. But when someone attacks the compassionate, when they kill those who will not fight back, they meet the other side of humanity." He paced along the ranks. "We are not going to the Dominion for revenge. Revenge is emotional, sloppy. We are going for justice. We are going to show the galaxy that there are consequences for attacking healers. We are going to make sure this never happens again." Major Jin stood next to Wu. She was the tactical operations officer responsible for planning every detail of the campaign. "We fight smart," she said. "We don't fight fair. Fair is for sports. This is war. They think they're strong because they have numbers. We'll show them that humans fight differently." In the medical section of the base, Wu Li stood in front of a mirror. She wore combat armor now instead of nurses' scrubs. In her hands, she held both a medical kit and a rifle. She had volunteered immediately after being rescued. A trauma counselor had tried to tell her she needed time to recover. Wu had refused. "I'll recover later. Right now, I have work to do." "You were a healer," the counselor had said. "You saved lives." "I still will," Wu replied. "But this time I'll do it behind warriors instead of in front of them." Now she stood with 50 other combat medics, all trained to fight and heal in equal measure. They would go with the Harbingers, keeping soldiers alive, treating wounds, saving lives even in the middle of battle. Sergeant approached her. He was a veteran of the First Contact War and tough. "You ready for this?" he asked. "No," Wu admitted, "but I'm going anyway." Nodded with approval. "That's the right answer. Anyone who says they're ready for war is lying, but you do it anyway because it needs to be done." The Harbinger fleet was impressive. 50 ships, smaller than most galactic fleets but built with human engineering and human tactics in mind. They were fast, heavily armed, and carried technology that other species didn't fully understand. Admiral Sangwoo Tors commanded the fleet from the flagship Retribution. He was old for a military officer, with white hair and a face lined by years of difficult decisions. He had fought in Earth's last major war before First Contact. He knew what war cost. He knew what they were about to do. "All ships report ready," his operations officer announced. "Very well," Sangwoo said. He opened fleet-wide communications. "This is Admiral Tors. In 1 hour we will enter FTL on a course for the Dominion. Our mission is clear. Bring those responsible for the Compassion massacre to justice. We will follow the rules of war. We will not target civilians. We will not become what we're fighting against." He paused. "But make no mistake, we will win. We will show the galaxy that attacking Earth's healers has consequences. We will show them that humanity chooses peace, but we can wage war better than anyone." The fleet began powering up their FTL drives. Across Earth and human colonies, people watched. Some protested, saying violence wasn't the answer. Others supported the action, saying justice demanded it. Most simply mourned the 183 who had died trying to do good in a dangerous galaxy. As the fleet prepared to launch, General Yang Xin recorded a message for the Galactic Coalition. "We tried to show you our best nature. We sent healers to ease suffering. We sent teachers to share knowledge. We sent diplomats to build peace. One species decided our compassion was weakness. They murdered innocents to prove it. Now you'll see what we hoped you'd never have to see. You'll see what happens when humans stop being healers and become warriors. Watch carefully. Learn. Because after this, every species in the galaxy will understand. Attack our healers and you face our harbingers." The fleet launched. 50 ships vanished into FTL, heading toward the Dominion. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen when Earth stopped asking for peace and started demanding justice. The Harbinger fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of space. Every sensor in the region immediately detected them. Within minutes, the military command knew that Earth had come to their doorstep. Admiral Sangwoo Tors broadcast a single message on all frequencies. "This is the Earth Defense Force to the Dominion. Surrender those responsible for the attack on the medical vessel Compassion within 24 hours. If you comply, we will leave peacefully. If you do not, we will come and take them. There will be no third option." The response came quickly from Supreme Commander himself. "Humans, you are foolish. You bring 50 ships against our armada of 500. You threaten us in our own space. Return to your small corner of the galaxy before we destroy you as we destroyed your pathetic medical ship." Wu listened to the message from the assault carrier Swift Justice. Next to him, Major Jin shook her head. "They really don't understand, do they?" "They're about to learn," Wu replied. "Send the data to all ships. Execute Plan Silver." They launched their armada, 500 warships, each one massive and heavily armed. They outnumbered the human fleet 10 to 1. Their commanders were confident. They had fought dozens of wars and won them all through overwhelming force. They had never fought humans before. The battle began at 800 hours, Galactic Standard Time. Observers from the Coalition watched from long-range sensors, expecting to see Earth's fleet destroyed within hours. What they saw instead changed everything they thought they knew about human warfare. The Harbinger ships moved like nothing the galaxy had seen. They didn't form traditional battle lines. They didn't charge forward. They scattered, breaking into small groups that darted between ships like fish in a current. "They're running," a commander said with satisfaction. "No," said slowly, watching his tactical display. "They're adapting." The human ships used weapons they had never encountered. Kinetic kill vehicles that traveled at incredible speeds, too fast for point defense systems. Electronic warfare that blinded sensors and confused targeting computers. Missiles that could change direction mid-flight, making them nearly impossible to intercept. But it was the tactics that truly shocked the observers. Humans fought dirty. They hit ships from unexpected angles. They targeted command and control systems instead of weapons. They used their own formations against them, causing ships to accidentally fire on each other. Major Jin coordinated the battle from the command ship. Her board showed every human and vessel. She moved units like pieces on a chessboard, always 3 moves ahead. Strike Group 3, feint toward their left flank. When they turn to engage, Strike Group 7 hits their command carrier from behind. It worked perfectly. The ships turned to face the threat from Group 3, leaving their rear exposed. Group 7's missiles destroyed the command carrier's bridge, killing the fleet admiral and throwing the formation into chaos. Colonel Wu led a boarding action on a battleship. His team moved through the corridors with practiced efficiency, using stun weapons to disable the crew. They reached the ship's computer core and planted special devices. "Package delivered," Wu reported. "Extraction in 90 seconds." His team fought their way back to their insertion pods and launched just before the devices activated. Every system on the battleship shut down simultaneously. The ship was intact, but completely disabled. This was the pattern. Humans didn't destroy ships unless they had to. They disabled them, captured them, or forced them to surrender. It was more difficult than simply blowing everything up, but it kept casualties lower on both sides. Why are they doing this? An officer asked desperately as his ship lost power. Sargent was on that ship leading a capture team. He heard the question over the communications channel. "Because we're not like you," he answered. "We could kill everyone, but we choose not to, even now, even after what you did." 6 hours into the battle, they had lost 300 ships. Not all destroyed, many simply disabled or captured. The human fleet had lost 8 ships, but most of their crews had evacuated safely. Supreme Commander stared at his displays in disbelief. This was impossible. The humans should be losing. They were outnumbered. They were new to galactic warfare, but they were winning. "They fight like demons," one of his officers whispered. "No," said quietly. "They fight like humans. We just never understood what that meant." He opened a communication channel. "Human fleet, we request a ceasefire to negotiate terms." Admiral Sangwoo considered it. Then he responded, "No, you were given 24 hours, you mocked us. You bragged about killing our healers. Now we will finish what we came to do." The fleet fell back to their home system. Hopping their defensive platforms would give them an advantage. It didn't. The human ships moved through the defenses like they weren't even there, using tricks and tactics that the platforms couldn't handle. Wu stood on the bridge of his ship, watching military installations fall one after another. "Remember," he told his teams, "no civilian targets. We're not here to conquer. We're here for justice." Wu Li worked in the medical bay of the Swift Justice. Wounded soldiers were brought in, captured during boarding actions. She treated them the same way she had treated everyone on the Compassion. The same way had taught her. One soldier stared at her in confusion. "You heal us, after what we did." "I'm a healer," Wu said simply. "That doesn't change because I'm angry or hurt. That's the whole point." The soldier said nothing, but something in his eyes changed. The battle lasted 18 hours in total. When it ended, the military was broken, not destroyed completely, but crippled. They had no functioning command structure. Most of their ships were captured or disabled. Their defensive platforms were smoking ruins. And the human fleet had done it all while following the rules of war. No civilian casualties, no war crimes, no atrocities. They had fought with devastating effectiveness, but they had fought with honor. Supreme Commander was captured personally by Colonel Wu. "It's over," Wu told him. "You're going to Earth to stand trial for war crimes. You and every officer who gave the order to attack the Compassion." "You won't execute us?" asked surprised. "That's not our decision to make. The courts will decide." Wu's face was hard. "But you'll answer for what you did. Every person who died on that medical ship will be named. Every family will see justice." Before leaving the system, Admiral Sangwoo made one final broadcast. "To the people, we did not come here to destroy you. We came for those who murdered unarmed healers. That mission is complete. Your military attacked civilians and called it legitimate. You learned today that Earth does not accept that reasoning. We are leaving now. Your captured ships will be returned after they're inspected. Your military prisoners will be released except for those charged with war crimes. We ask only one thing. Remember this day. Remember that humanity tried to bring healing to the galaxy, and when that was attacked, we brought justice instead." The Galactic Coalition observers were stunned. Earth's military capability had been completely underestimated. But more than that, humans had shown they could wage devastating war while still maintaining moral principles. They had won while following the rules they set for themselves. As the Harbinger fleet prepared to return to Earth, Wu stood in the medical bay, cleaning up after treating the last batch of wounded soldiers. She thought about and sung, and she thought about the 183 who had died. "We won," Sergeant said, finding her there. "We made them pay for what they did." "Did we, though?" Wu asked quietly. "And the others are still dead. Justice doesn't bring them back." "No," agreed. "But it means their deaths meant something. It means the next medical ship that goes out will be safer. It means other species will think twice before attacking healers." Wu nodded slowly. "Would have wanted that. She always said we had to try to make things better." "She'd be proud of you," said. "You still healed people, even in the middle of all this." "That's what we do," Wu replied. "That's what makes us human." 3 months after the Battle of Space, the Galactic Coalition Council met again. This time, the chamber was different. When Ambassador Han entered, representatives from species that had previously ignored her now stood and nodded respectfully. Some in respect, some in fear. The topic of discussion was labeled simply, "The Human Question." Walked to the podium, her expression neutral. She knew what was coming. The galaxy had seen what Earth could do. Now they were scared. Scared people did unpredictable things. A counselor spoke first. "Ambassador Han, we must discuss Earth's military capabilities. Your fleet defeated a force 10 times its size. Your weapons technology is far beyond what you previously revealed. Many species feel concerned." "Concerned," repeated. "You mean afraid." The counselor shifted uncomfortably. "We simply believe that transparency is important. Earth has been hiding its true military strength." "No," said firmly. "We weren't hiding it. We chose not to use it. There's a difference. When we joined the galactic community 50 years ago, we made a decision. We would lead with our best qualities: compassion, curiosity, the desire to help. We sent doctors, not destroyers, teachers, not troops." She looked around the chamber. "You've seen 2 faces of humanity now, the healers of the compassion and the warriors of the Harbinger fleet. You're trying to understand which one is real. The answer is both. We are both." A counselor stood, the same one whose species had been saved by the compassion. "Ambassador Han, I think I understand what you're saying, but others here are afraid. They saw how efficiently your forces destroyed the military. What's to stop Earth from doing the same to any species that disagrees with you?" Smiled sadly. "The same thing that stopped us for the last 50 years, choice. Every day, humans choose what we want to be. We chose to send medical ships instead of warships. We chose to heal instead of harm. We'll keep making that choice. But when someone attacks our healers," her voice hardened, "when they kill people who would never raise a weapon, when they murder innocence itself, then we show the other side. The side we work very hard to keep restrained." She pulled up images on the main display. They showed the compassion before the attack, crew members smiling, patients recovering. Then after, the wreckage, the bodies, the destruction. 183 people died that day, said. They died because they cared, because they wanted to help. If you think we would allow that to go unanswered, then you don't understand humans at all. An older counselor from a species called the spoke. His voice was thoughtful. Ambassador, I am old. I have seen many species rise and fall. What concerns us is not your strength but your passion. Humans feel things deeply. You love deeply, you grieve deeply, you fight deeply. This makes you unpredictable. Nodded. You're right, we do feel things deeply. That's what makes us human, but it's also what makes us trustworthy. We don't attack randomly, we don't kill for convenience. Every action we take means something to us. The learned that the hard way. She gestured to the images again. We could have destroyed them completely. We had the capability, but we didn't. We followed the rules of war. We avoided civilian casualties. We took prisoners instead of killing them. Even in our anger, even in our grief, we stayed true to our principles. That's the real message of what happened. Humanity can be terrible when forced to fight, but we'll never stop being human. We'll never abandon our values, even in war. That's what should give you comfort, not fear. The vote came later that day. The council passed new regulations with stronger protections for medical personnel. Any attack on clearly marked medical vessels would be treated as an attack on the entire coalition. The vote was unanimous. But they also passed a resolution acknowledging Earth's military capability and requesting regular reports on human military developments. It was a compromise. Trust, but verify. Accepted it, it was better than war. On Earth, at the International Criminal Court, the trial of Supreme Commander and 43 other officers began. The proceedings were broadcast throughout the galaxy. Every detail of the attack was examined. Every decision was questioned. Wu Li, she described the attack, the deaths, the terror. She held up pictures of her friends and colleagues who had died. She read their names aloud, all 183 of them. When asked if she wanted the death penalty for those responsible, Wu surprised everyone. "No," she said. "Doctor taught me that we don't kill even when we're hurt. These officers should spend their lives in prison thinking about what they did. But we're not executioners. We're better than that." The court eventually sentenced and the others to life imprisonment under Galactic Convention laws. Some humans protested, wanting harsher punishment, but most understood. Justice had been served without revenge. At the Earth Space Development Center, a new ship was being prepared for launch. It was a medical vessel, the first of 10 being built to replace the Compassion. General Yang Xin stood at the ceremony, watching as the ship's name was revealed. "Doctor." "We named this ship after a hero," Xin said in his speech. "Doctor died protecting others. She died doing what she loved, what she chose, what she believed in. This ship will carry on her mission. It will bring healing to those who need it." He paused. "And it will be protected. Every medical ship we send out will have a Harbinger fleet escort nearby. Not because we want to fight, because we want to make sure our healers can do their job safely." 9 more ships would be named after other crew members of the Compassion. Each one would carry a full medical staff. Each one would go to dangerous places. Each one would try to bring mercy to a dangerous galaxy. But orbiting Earth, the Harbinger fleet was also expanding. The message was clear. Earth would lead with compassion, but it would be protected by strength. Wu returned to medical service 6 months after the battle. She had trained as a combat medic, but she chose to go back to regular humanitarian work. She joined the crew of the Doctor on its first mission. Her first patient was a child, injured in an industrial accident on a colony world. The child's parents were terrified, recognizing Wu as human. They remembered the Battle of Space. Wu smiled gently and began treating the child. "It's okay," she said softly. "I'm a healer, that's all that matters." The child recovered fully. The parents thanked her with tears in their eyes. Word spread among them that humans still came to help, still chose to heal, even after everything. On the bridge of the Doctor, the new captain, a woman named Min, watched the stars. She had been offered a military command but chose this instead. "Someone has to keep doing what the Compassion crew started," she had said. Nearby, a Harbinger destroyer kept pace with them, close enough to respond to any threat, far enough to not interfere with medical operations. The destroyer's captain, a young officer named Min, sent a simple message each day: "We're here if you need us." On Earth, at the memorial for the Compassion crew, new flowers appeared every day. People came from all over to pay respects. The memorial was simple: 183 names carved in stone. Below them, an inscription: "They died healing. We fought so others could keep healing. This is humanity." In schools across Earth and human colonies, children learned about the Compassion. They learned about Doctor and Captain and all the others. They learned about the choice humanity made every day: to be healers first, warriors only when necessary. But they also learned about the Harbingers. They learned that kindness without strength was weakness, and strength without kindness was tyranny. They learned that humanity had both, and knowing when to show which was what mattered. Ambassador returned to Earth for a break after months of diplomatic work. She visited the memorial, standing quietly before the names. A young girl approached her, holding her mother's hand. "Excuse me," the girl said. "My teacher said you spoke to the aliens. Did you tell them not to hurt healers anymore?" Knelt down to the girl's level. "I told them that humans come in peace, that we want to help everyone. But I also told them that if they hurt our healers, they'll meet the part of us that protects them." "Like having a guard dog?" the girl asked. Smiled, "Something like that. We're kind, but we're not helpless. We're gentle, but we're not weak. We're human." The girl nodded solemnly, seeming to understand in the way children sometimes do. Far across the galaxy, on a refugee station, a young asked her mother a question. The mother had been on the Compassion when it was attacked. She had been saved by Doctor's sacrifice. "Mother, why do humans have two faces?" the child asked. The mother thought carefully before answering. "They don't have two faces, child. They have one face with two expressions, hope and resolve, mercy and justice. They show you which one based on who you are. Be good, and you'll only ever see their kindness." "What if I'm not good?" the child asked. The mother hugged her daughter. "Then you'll see why the galaxy learned to respect them. But you'll be good, so you don't need to worry." In orbit around Earth, both types of ships launched regularly. Medical vessels heading to help, Harbinger ships heading to protect. Both were human, both were necessary, both were choices. And humanity kept choosing, every day, to be both the healer and the protector, the teacher and the warrior, the hope and the harbinger. Because that was what it meant to be human.